I'm going to do the unthinkable.
Mm.
Let's do a couple of minutes of complete silence. And I'd like you to just breathe. Just really take some deep breaths. In a book called The Way of Mastery, just keep breathing. I opened it up to see what would be the special message for the group today. I just opened the book and I wanted to see where it opened up to. And I was told to suggest that with your eyes closed, you listen to this and you just let yourself breathe in. This is a special message for us. There are many in your world that teach this illusory doctrine of what is called karma, which means that what you send out now, you must experience sooner or later. And how you experience it is directly related to the quality of the ripple you send out. Take a breath. That is not true. That would make you a victim. If you are made in the image of God, and I assure you that you are not a victim of the world you see. You cannot, in reality, be victimized by anyone or anything at any time, because your reality is that you are made in the image of God. If you could truly be victimized, it would mean that God creates unlike herself. Does a salmon come from an oak tree? Does a nebula come out of the womb of a woman? Does a raspberry grow on a grocery store shelf? No. Like begets like. Therefore, why would you ever believe that God, who is but love and unlimited creativity and power, could ever beget something that is small and little and powerless? It doesn't happen. God cannot be victimized. Therefore, God's creation remains victimless. All events remain neutral, and all that the environmentalists and the logger are doing is using the power of consciousness to momentarily create the belief that they are this and not that. The logger and the environmentalist, for example, place a value of their own choosing upon an event of energy that they call a tree. A tree is an event of energy. And by the value the logger and the environmentalist place upon the tree, they call the quality of experience. What value they place upon it, they call the quality of experience they will have into their field of awareness. That is all that is happening. The energy that makes up the tree is eternal forever. The energy that makes up the tree may change form, but life remains. Therefore, lament not the passing away of a species, but trust the grand intelligence that gave rise to the species in the first place, for it is still busy creating even greater universes. This is why loss does not exist. How does all this refute and relate? How does all this relate to your daily experience? How does all this relate to your daily experience? As we move into the lessons that follow, it is going to become very crucial that you have a foundation upon which to build. sometimes it's hard to remember that I'm not a victim.
I know.
Sometimes it looks just like people are doing something to me. Anybody else have that
I
experience?
got that
It
feeling.
looks just like it, right?
Right.
Yeah. You know, on the guidelines for my classes, you don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it. Some of it's going to be hard to believe, some of it might be startling, but if you use it, you'll see that it works. So I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. You don't have to believe a word that's coming out of my mouth. It's perfectly okay with me. All right? But if you use this, then you'll see that it works. The purpose of the Course in Miracles is to give you a new interpretation of everything that's happening in your life so that you won't lose your peace. The purpose of the Course in Miracles is to teach you a new interpretation of everything that's going on in your life so that you won't lose your peace. The purpose of the Course in Miracles is to teach us another way of looking at things so that we will not lose our peace. The Course in Miracles is not about how to manifest a car, a soulmate, a new career, lose weight, any of the things in the world. But the funny thing about it is, once I start achieving peace of mind, and therefore being able to hear my inner guidance, I noticed all the things that I used to try to work so hard to manifest that started showing up in my life almost as if by magic on their own. Very interesting. I took my mind off of them, then they showed up. But when I was obsessed with it, it was always hard to achieve. Might be a lesson in that.
Yep.
So is everybody clear about the purpose of the Course in Miracles? It's to give you new interpretations of everything that's going on in your life right now so that you don't lose your inner peace, because if you don't lose your inner peace, you can hear your own inner voice. So it's about you hearing your own inner guidance, the spiritual guidance, the divine guidance, the God guidance that's inside of your mind. So before every class, what I've been doing, because I'm so familiar with the material, is that I've been I have a randomizer application, and I use it to spontaneously pick sections to cover in the class. I ask Spirit what this group that's going to be sent today, including myself, needs to hear, and then I see what the numbers that come up, and I go for it. And sometimes when I look at it, it freaks me out, because some of the stuff that goes to is like way back in the book, so I know it can be a little challenging to hear, but it still doesn't mean that we're not ready to hear it. Now, what I'm going to do to make this easy is that the Course in Miracles has its own definitions for every word in there. So it uses Christian terminology, but it gives a regular modern language translation of those words. And what I'm going to do is just translate it by using the words and the definitions that the Course itself uses for these words. For instance, the first part of the sentence says, "You have been told to bring darkness to the light."
Page?
It's on page 393 in the text. Darkness from a Course in Miracles perspective is fear. And one of my favorite definitions of darkness it gives in the book is ignorance. I don't like anybody to call me ignorant. There's something about being called ignorant that makes me want to not be that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So let me tell you the difference. You have been told to bring ignorance to knowledge instead of saying darkness to light. See how you get a totally different kind of a twist on that? Or you could say, you have been told to bring fear to the love. Mm-hmm. And you have been told to bring guilt to holiness, which is innocence. So you've been told to bring the fear inside of you to the love inside of you. I've been told to bring the ignorance in my mind to the knowledge in my mind. I'm being asked to bring the guilt inside of me to the innocence inside of me. And it says, and you have also been told that error must be corrected at its source. So the way that you correct an error is where it was caused. Does that make sense to us? Mm-hmm. That if I'm going to correct a mistake, then I've got to correct what caused it. Then it says, therefore, it's the tiny part of yourself, the little thought that seems split off and separate, that the Holy Spirit needs. The God, the Spirit in us, the truth in us, needs the part of us that seems to be split off and separate. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we look like the part that's split off and separate. We look like we're separate, don't we? Mm-hmm. Okay, so based on this, it's saying the part of you that loves you, your divine self, your greater self, needs the part of itself that seems to be separate, which is us. Love needs us. Love wants us. The creative power wants us. God wants us. Love wants us. We're split off and separate. Happiness is saying, happiness is what Course defines love as being. Happiness, I'm using another word for love. Happiness. Love is happiness. When you really and truly knowing love, you're feeling happy. You're not truly knowing love and feeling miserable and sad and guilty and upset all the time. You know, that doesn't go with love. Love goes with joy. Love goes with happiness. So the Course says the part of you that's happy needs the part of you that looks like you're not. Then it says the rest of you is fully in God's keeping. And that means the rest of you doesn't need any guide. So you're this enormously large spiritual being. And there's a part of you that thinks it's separate, the part that's sitting in the chair. And the part of us that loves us, the greater part of us, is the happy, loving, conscious part of us, the divine part of us, is saying, I need you. Yeah. I need you. Y'all tripping. Y'all really tripping. I need y'all. And this, in the Course, then I think I'm being insulted. He says, in this wild and delusional thought. So the Course in Miracles is calling us a wild and delusional thought. And I am pretty wild. And I've certainly have been delusional. And so he says, this wild and delusional thought needs help. So the Course is saying, you need help. You need help. And then he goes on to tell me, because in your delusions, this little separate part, this little fearful part, this little part that doesn't even know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now, this little part that feels guilty and depressed and doesn't trust, you know, it says this part of you is delusional because it thinks it's the Son of God, which means it thinks it's the child of God, which means it thinks it's whole and omnipotent. And it thinks it's the sole ruler of the kingdom is set apart to tyrannize by madness into obedience and slavery. So the Course says my ego, the part of me that's separate, the part of me that doesn't know the truth, he says this part of me thinks I am the whole omnipotent God. The part of me that doesn't even know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now. So when it says we are the children of God, we have made it, it's not talking about our ego. It's not talking about the part of us that has this concept of ourselves as being separate and on its own. It's talking to the part of us that knows it's still connected to the whole. And so the Course is saying this part of us wants to be the sole ruler of a kingdom that you want to tyrannize everybody in your experience into some form of obedience and slavery. In other words, the perfect soulmate for me would be someone who was obedient and did every damn thing I told. So I really do want them to be obedient, and I want them to be my slave. And the person that loves me is my slave. Now, that's the way my ego is. Now, I'm talking about the ego. I'm talking about the part of me that doesn't know the truth, the part of me that's selfish, and the part of me that just wants what it wants. I know you might not have a part like that, but I have a part of my mind that's like that. So the Course then says, now it says, and then I look at how he says, tyrannized by madness. You know, it's like I'm completely insane, and I'm trying to get you to do everything I say you should do, and I'm not even happy myself. I'm not even conscious myself. I'm not even trusting myself. And I'm thinking that I need to be someone in charge of everything and everybody else telling them what to do. It's like the presidential candidates. Totally insane, want to rule me. Then it says, this is the little part you think you stole from heaven, which is love, which is true. He says, give it back to happiness. Happiness hasn't lost it, but you've lost sight of happiness. Happiness hasn't lost sight of you, but he says you've lost sight of happiness. Your happiness hasn't lost sight of you, but you've lost sight of your happiness. And he says, let the Holy Spirit, which is the part of you that is still connected to the good stuff, he says, let the Holy Spirit remove you from the withered kingdom that you set yourself off, surrounded by darkness, guarded by attack, and reinforced by hate. Lord have mercy. It says within the little barricade. The Course says that really our ego, the part of us that doesn't trust and that's afraid, he says it's a barricade. It's like my not trusting people is here trying to protect me, but I'm inside of that, trying to have a barricade around me to make sure nobody hurts me. So I'm inside. So the Course says we're inside of a barricade. But there's a really cool part of us. There's a part of us that's still powerful and innocent and divine that's behind the barricades. I love that. I love that. And it says, so really behind your fear, there's a part of you that's complete. There's a part of you that's innocent. There's a part of you that's serene. And there's a part of you that's not even aware of all the stuff you're upset about. There's a part of you that's so chill that it isn't even aware of the stuff that you're making yourself upset about, because it's so whole, nothing can affect its power and who it really is. That's cool.
Yes.
That's some cool stuff. So what I've got to do then is I've got to bring my fear to the love. I've got to get rid of my guilt and bring it to my innocence. And then I've got to be willing to take the part of me that thinks it's separate from God, the part of me that thinks it's separate from love, the part of me that thinks it's separate from happiness, and I've got to be willing to give it back to the part of me that does know how to make me happy. And I need to recognize that I am totally not what I think I am. I'm not this afraid person. I'm not this concerned person. I'm not this person who thinks I'm alone. I'm not this person who thinks I'm a victim. I'm not this person who thinks there's some form of lack in my life. That is not who I really am. What I really am is something that's complete, something that's serene, and something that's completely still connected to the source that created me, that is in total bliss, consciousness, and power and light. That's who I really am. Ta-da.
Yes.
Any questions about that? Any comments about that paragraph?
That's good news.
That sounds like good news. What was one of the best things that you heard out of that?
There's a part of me that is always serene. So nothing that can happen to me.
There's a part of me that's always whole and complete and serene. What about this part of us that thinks it's separate? What is it that we need to do with that part of us as quick as we can?
Bring it to
Give
life.
it back.
We need to give it back. We need to give it back
Give
to
it
the
back.
part of us that's love. We need to give it back to the part of us that's God. We need to give it back to the part of us that's truth. We need to give it back to the part of us that's power. I need to give me back to the part of me that loves me.
Yes.
I need to give me back to the part of me that loves me. There's a part of me that loves me, and there's a part of me that, quite frankly, does not love me. And the part of me that does not love me has been in charge much too long. And it's time to let go of the part of me. Its advice has not worked so far
No.
on any kind of consistent level. And it also attracts me to other parts of myself called other people who also are split off a lot. And they're afraid too. So it ends up being two afraid people being together trying to make each other happy in their fear. And you don't pull that off on any kind of consistent basis. Okay, so right now I'm saying to the part of me that loves me, I am willing to have every block inside of my mind removed that keeps you from being in charge of my life, that part of me. I'm going to say that right now. Any questions about that paragraph? Any thoughts, any ahas that came up around that paragraph? So what do? We've got to take the fearful part of us back to the loving part of us. We've got to want love more than fear, and want our innocence more than guilt, and want the truth more than we want to be ignorant about what's going on. How can I tell if I don't know? I'm miserable, unhappy, and afraid, broken into by periods in which it seems to be gone. Broken into by periods in which it looks like I'm okay. I'm unokay, broken into by periods where I go, fine. And then I go from fine to I don't feel so good. I feel fine. I don't feel so good. Fine. I don't feel so good. I'm happy. I'm upset. I'm happy. I'm upset. I'm happy. I'm upset. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling bad. I feel innocent. I feel guilty. I feel prosperous. I feel like I'm broke. I feel like I'm loved. I feel like nobody loves me. I feel like my life is going great. It sucks. Anybody familiar with that? Okay, that part of us that's doing that's the part of us that we need to start directing towards some type of awareness. Okay? All right, well, I'll go to the next paragraph. Yeah.
Earl, I just wanted to make a comment because
Mm-hmm.
I'm making a beautiful realization that the way that I'm gonna give myself back to heaven, because I used to think that if I could just figure this out intellectually, I could do it better. I'm starting to realize that the way I really am gonna do that is to open myself up to it and allow that to like the love to flow.
Yeah.
And it starts by like, me breathing, me
Right.
breathing, and putting the intellect aside,
So that's what your inner self said?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I think it would be worthwhile to pay attention to that. How did it make you feel?
I can feel free.
Okay, that might be a clue that what you just told yourself was the truth. Would you mind? I'm gonna pass this around for the contact list. Please, please print. I've been working on my Egyptian, but I'm just not. Because for those who are open, I'm doing a lot of stuff to support people who want to change their mind. And one of the things several things I'm doing. Number one, I'm sending out a little short daily message every day to start out the day that's linked to a video that you just click and watch and listen to. You don't even have to read it. Just click, watch, and listen to it if you don't mind having a black man in your house. Next thing, and then the next thing that I'm doing is I'm also being given a lot of new ideas of things to do. And at least once a week I'm gonna send a class also. That's a link that you'll be able to watch and remember. You can also go to my YouTube website and you can subscribe to my videos of the classes. I take all these classes and I video them, and it'll come automatically to you as soon as I upload one. It's just as soon as I upload it, it'll come to you just as soon as it comes online. Why am I doing all this? Because the change that we're looking for isn't going to happen unless we continually give ourselves reminders and new ways of looking at things. It's not going to happen from just listening alone, but we need as much support as we can get. So I'm really, if I'm driving you crazy and you want to unsubscribe, you're totally innocent. I love you. It don't make no difference. But I want to help and support the people who come to my class that say they want to be a part of what I'm doing. Okay? I want to be more devoted. And so that means I'm going to give you more attention. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one thing about it, people who don't want your attention, they usually leave. And unless you're so insane, you try to hold on to them. People who are not making you happy always go. If you don't see trying to hang on to them as your spiritual growth. If I'm not being spiritual if I don't try to hang on to the person that's making me miserable that I'm not really communicating with anyway. We have nothing in common. If the Course says, give up what you don't want, keep what you do. So if you want the relationship, keep it. And if you don't want the relationship, let it go. That's the only instruction the truth has given us. If you want it, keep it. If you don't want it, let it go. You couldn't ask for a more simple, cool guidance. If I want it, keep it. If I don't want it, let it go. Right? Mm-hmm. So right now, if you're pondering about some relationship, if you want them, keep them. If you don't want them, choose out of it. How's one of the ways you can tell you want it? Well, you're still in it. Even if you're complaining, you're still there. So obviously you want it more than you don't want it. So just admit you want it right now. Give yourself the peace of that. And then watch the truth start to heal the relationship because you're not in the conflict and a conflicted state of mind because you're trying to choose between two different directions. And that's why you can't hear your guidance about how to deal with the relationship because you won't make up your mind whether you want to be in it or not. So you don't hear your guidance about how to have peace in it from a Course perspective. Isn't that wild? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to figure whether I want to stay with them. Well, you're not making a decision. It's keeping you from hearing the guidance about whether you should or not. So right now, if you're in it, then tell yourself, in this moment, I want to be in it. Why? Because I'm in it. Okay, so now I'm not in conflict. I'm in it because I want to be. Mm-hmm. Since I'm not in conflict, I can start to hear the inner guidance that I'm getting about how I should look at it to heal it or release it. Okay. Next paragraph. It says, be you not separate from the one who does surround it, has brought union to you, returning your little offering of darkness to the eternal light. How is this done? It's extremely simple, being based on what this little kingdom of love really is. The barren sands, the darkness and the lifelessness are seen only through your body's eyes. Your body's eyes' bleak sight is distorted, and the messages your body's eyes transmits to you, who made your body's eyes to limit your awareness, are little and limited and so fragmented that it's meaningless. So, everybody got that? I could have sworn that boy was speaking English, but somewhere along the line he went straight into, you know why? Because it's so radically different from the way we think that you didn't understand what I said. You know, maybe. All I said was, and all the Course in Miracles says, is that the love is surrounding you, but the reason why you don't see it is because you're looking through the eyes of your body.
Yeah.
And looking through the eyes of my physical body, I see limitation. Do we not?
Yes.
So that's what it's saying. It's saying the only reason why you are seeing what upsets you is because you're looking through your earthly eyes and not your spiritual eyes. You're looking through the eyes of your body and not looking through the truth inside of you, the real you. Okay? So if you just believe what your eyes see, then you're not really seeing correctly. Your eyes only see what you are asking them to see, and your eyes only witness to you what you expect to see and what you believe. So your physical eyes only show you your own beliefs. Your physical eyes do not show you the truth. They just show you what you think is the truth. Your physical senses just show you what you think is the truth. So let me give you an example. All right. This right here just looks like something through my physical eyes. And once my physical eyes defines it as a remote control, then that's what I see it as, and that's what I relate to it as. So what I'm really responding to is the definition I've given to it and the meaning I've given to it. Is that true? Right, and that's what you're doing to me right now. You're not really listening. The Course would say, you're not really listening to what I'm saying at all. You're listening to what you are saying about what I'm saying. You're listening to your judgments of what I'm saying right now. I'm saying something, and then you give your opinion to yourself about it. And you go, I buy that or I don't buy that. Or I agree with that or I don't agree with that. What could be a more erroneous way of judging what's true than us? You know, like something isn't true unless I say it is. Something isn't true unless I say it is. You know, I got a little comment from a guy in the other day, yesterday. And he was quoting me. He said, Earl said that you're not asked to judge the ideas, and you're not asked to analyze the ideas, but it's the use of the ideas that will give the ideas meaning. It's the use of the ideas that will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that they're true. That using it will show you that it's true. And then he says, that sounds like the basis of fundamentalism to me. Now, I was like, interesting. It was like, how did he get fundamentalism out of that statement? So he was really reacting to his definition of what I said. And that's the scary part about being a teacher, by the way. That's the scariest thing about being a teacher, is that people think they're listening to you, but they're really listening to their judgments about what you're saying. And then they walk away saying, Earl said. Okay? And that's what's happening with everybody in your life. You're talking to your mother, you're talking to your brother, you're talking to your sister, you're talking to your cousin, and you think that they're actually hearing something that you're saying. The truth is they're not hearing anything you're saying. They're just hearing what the meaning that they're giving to what you're saying. That's why the energy behind what you say is more important than what you say. If someone is feeling love and feeling peace and feeling openness behind what you're saying, and they're actually feeling your sincerity, it really doesn't matter what you're saying, because they're going to get you. They're going to get that what you're saying is coming from a space of love and not from a space of attack and fear. Because they're not going to get it the way you mean it anyway. So all the time that we spend trying to make sure that people understand what we're saying is really kind of ridiculous, because no matter how many times have you tried to, as carefully as you could, say something to somebody to make it as clear as you possibly could, and they still came back with a response that made you say, what the hell? You know you've had that experience, right? So what you really want to do is have so much love and so much centeredness in you that they're not feeling attacked, first and foremost. Woo! I love this stuff. I love this stuff. So the Course says that what we see is so fragmented, what we see is such a small part of everything around us that it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? It's like it's like somebody giving you a 1,000-piece puzzle, and then they give you one piece of the puzzle, and then they tell you to say what the whole puzzle is, what the whole puzzle is going to look like. It's a 1,000-piece puzzle. They took one piece out, and you don't even see the rest of it. They said, tell me what this whole thing means. That's what we do. We take the Course says we take one little simple fragmented perception, our own little opinion, our own little limited perception, and then we say we understand what the whole picture is. So there's something happening in my life at a very small level that I'm upset about, and I'm automatically judging that it must not be good. See, I don't know that when I was on the way to work and I was driving really fast and I came right up on a traffic jam, that if there had not been a traffic jam and I had gone through that intersection at another particular time, that I could have been hit by a person that was running the red light. Because I didn't see the big picture. I didn't see the car driving down way 2 miles away, getting ready to meet me. All I saw was it was a traffic jam in front of me, and I thought I was going to be late at work, and this is just the start of a miserable day. And you don't know, you might have saved your own life through the traffic jam. But you're just looking at a little part of what's going on. The Course is saying, so our little fragmented perceptions of our lives, he says, it's totally meaningless. You don't really know nothing what's really going on in your life right now. You just know your little perception of it,
Yes.
yeah. Woo! Woo! And he says, that's what you're doing when you look through the eyes of your physical body. You're just looking at your own judgments. That's all you're looking at all day long. I could love you to the bottom of my heart, and you would say Earl doesn't love you because that's the way you're judging it. But that wouldn't have any effect on the fact that maybe I'm still loving you. So you could be surrounded by love that you don't even see because of what you're telling yourself through your body. Okay, end of that paragraph. Any question or comment about that? So the situation that you've been dealing with before you came here today, it might be helpful for you to tell yourself you don't really know what's going on. That the truth is you have no idea what your own best interest is.
Yeah.
That you don't really know what you're saying. I do not perceive my own best interest in this situation. Let's just play with that for a minute. You know the situation. You think about it before you came in the door. I do not perceive my own best interest in this situation. I don't perceive my own best interest in this situation. I don't really know what it's for. I don't really know what it's for. I don't perceive my own best interest in this situation. That's what the Course says you say when you really want peace. You'll probably find you will feel a little bit more peace. Yes. If you tell yourself, the truth is I really don't know what's going on in this situation. I really don't know what's going on with my boss. I really don't know what's going on with my boyfriend, girlfriend. I really don't know what's going on right now. I really don't know what my own best interests are. I don't know that it's not for my own best interest to get laid off that job. I don't know if it's my own best interest for me not to even have a job. I don't even know if this might be my own best interest for me to have this sickness. If all I know, it could be my own best interest not to have it. It could be my own best interest. I don't even know what my own best interest really is. The Course teaches that that's where your peace is located. When you don't know is admitting you don't know. The reason why I do that is so I can make a memory in my body, because all of my memories are stored in my body. All of your memories are stored in your body. All your memories are stored in your body. All of your memories are stored in your body. You're reliving the memories that are stored in your body. Your body is a storehouse of memory. Your body is a storehouse of memory. Your body is a storehouse of memory. All your memories are hidden in your body. All your memories are in your body. So when you chant, when you affirm, when you say stuff with feeling, it makes new imprints and new memories and good memories and powerful memories in your body. Yes. Besides that, I like to chant. All right? So, in that situation that you were thinking about before you got here, that you're not giving yourself peace about, tell yourself, I'm looking through my body's eyes, which is the same as saying I'm looking through my body's judgments. And I really don't know what this situation is for. I'm like the person that's in the traffic jam, not knowing that it's keeping me from being hit by a Mack truck. Just because I think this is the best thing for me to be doing, just because I think this is the best person for me to be with, just because I've made up my mind about what I think is good for me does not necessarily mean that it is. And one of the ways I can tell that it's not really in line with my inner self is that I don't feel peace. I don't feel love. I don't feel recognized. I don't feel valued. I don't feel, you know what I'm saying? It's not really that big of a hard mystery as to whether or not you're being true to yourself. Next paragraph. From the world of bodies, I love that. From the world of bodies, we are the world. We are a part of the body world. You know, it's like I can just see aliens somewhere else going, "Hey, y'all, look at the body world." How special like that body? It's called Earl. Well, just as I wouldn't be food. Okay. You know, they need to stop sending them things out in space, trying to tell people where we're located. For all you know, that could be a dinner bell for some alien. Our planet has been starving. It was about to go into supernova. We've been praying. Beep, beep. We're from Earth. You know, like our little satellite shows. And for them, it would be like, God answered our prayer. Yum, yum.
Yum, yum. Take that with a little salt.
I know. It's kind of funny because we, humans, it's like our ego sometimes can be so big that we really think like we're the highest up on the food chain.
Yeah.
No.
So we like sending out stuff. This is where we're located, and these are the TV shows we like. So as you eat us, watch this video. Oh, anyway. That was pretty good. I tell you sometimes, like, this is really funny. This is a funny place we're at, when you see it correctly, you're going to be laughing. You're going to be going, this is great. This is one of the best ones I pulled on myself, is this one, okay? So this why I take the course really slow, because each sentence is a trip. It says, from the world of bodies, how were bodies made? Well, bodies were made by insanity. So insane messages seem to be returned to the mind that made the insane messages. In other words, I sent out insane thoughts of fear and attack, and then those insane thoughts of fear and attack come back to me. That's all that's happening. I'm just seeing my own thoughts coming back to me. Then it goes to say, and these thoughts or messages bear witness to this world and pronounces this world as true. So everything in my perception is telling me that this is the only reality that we can possibly experience. This is all there is this world where we are, this dimension, what we're experiencing right now. That's the only thing that you can experience. It's a human experience. It's a body experience. And then he says, for you send forth these messengers to bring this back to you. So look at your perceptions and your beliefs as if they were like messengers that you, like carrier pigeons or something. Messengers that you sent out to bring back to you the message that you gave. So if I sent out into the world that I am not worthwhile, I cannot be loved, I cannot be appreciated, something is wrong with me, then that perception goes out in the world and looks for everybody who would validate that I'm unworthy. You would value me, she doesn't, so I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to bring you back. She would value me. I don't value me, so I can't have my perception bring her back. So my perception to bring him who thinks that I'm just a bunch of crap. So your perception goes out into your world and it brings back to you perceptions of what you believe about yourself. And so the good stuff, the cool stuff, the loving stuff, the real people, the trustworthy people, the giving people, the sane people, you don't even see them and you won't even think they exist. Because that's not the message you're sending out unless you feel that way about yourself. And you can tell if you feel that way about yourself by the way you feel about yourself. So if you already know sitting up there that you don't feel good about yourself, then don't be surprised that you're having experiences in your world right now that reflect back to you that you're not that cool, or not that appreciated, or not that loved. Just like there's some of you sitting here that also might have a perception of yourself as valuable and loved, and strong and powerful, and your perceptions are always witnessing back to you really friendly, loving, cool things all day long, and you just meeting really wonderful people all day long, and everywhere you go, people are treating you really cool. Now, the person who doesn't do that for themselves, they don't even believe the cool people exist. My world, my personal world, is populated by people who people think don't exist. Like people who are not judging me all the time, people who want me to feel innocent, people who just want to be giving and free, not trying to control me. If they invite me to something, they say something like, I'd like you to come to this thing the other night, but if it's not something you can do, you're totally innocent, and make sure you're doing something that you really love and you really enjoy, and I'll see you the next time. Well, I used to attract people to say, hey, I got this party tonight, you didn't come to the last one I came to. If you really care about me as my friend, you'll be here tonight. And you will stop by the store and pick up some kind of food to bring here. And then if you don't come, they say, how come you didn't come to my party? You didn't come to my Christmas party. You didn't come to my birthday. Y'all, anybody familiar with that? Okay? So what I'm saying is that there are two worlds, just like this thing says. There are two worlds and there are two Earls. Mm-hmm. There's a loving Earl, like the one y'all see sitting up here, that looks mighty sane and cooled out. And then there's insane Earl. The one that can hold grievances, the one that can want to attack, the one that can feel depressed, the one that can feel separate, the one that can feel unloved, the one that can feel judgmental. He exists also. I'm just on a level of consciousness that I love you too much to expose you. Where I used to be on a level of consciousness that when I was going through my crazy self, I'd make sure I was doing it with somebody else and projecting on them that they were the reason I was acting crazy. Now at least I get away from people when I know I'm going to project long enough to ask the Holy Spirit to give me the correct perception so that I won't be blaming them for what I'm going through, when I used to want to not only stay there with them, but make sure they realized it was their fault. Because I don't want you to forget, and if I'm here, I can give you a constant reminder, you're no good dog. If I'm gone, you might not know that. It's like the Course says, when we hear how we are, it sounds so unbelievable that it actually makes us it's like we're paralyzed. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what? Y'all know that's the truth. You all know that everything I've shared is the truth. You know it. You know you don't want to give everything the meaning that it has for you. You know you're seeing whatever it is that you're sending out in the world is what you're experiencing in your life. But part we might not know is that we are whole and we are complete and we're powerful and we're innocent and we deserve love, and we have not gotten in touch with that part of ourselves at the level that we need to. And we need to get rid of everything in our minds and 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 our minds that keep us from sending out those perceptions that bring back the people that are really loving, the situations that are really loving in our perception, the situations that are really safe in our perception. Something that loves us would not set it up where our happiness depended on something outside of ourselves in order for us to be happy. That would be cruel. If my happiness depended on getting you all to like me, that would not be a loving thing for God to do. Because now I got to spend all my time trying to get you to like me before I could have a happy life. God loves me too much for that. God knows I deserve to be loved and gives me the love no matter what anybody else is thinking of me. Because that's really the way they think about themselves, and that's really them holding off their own good because they don't like their own butts. But they think they're projecting it on me, but they're really keeping the love from themselves until they're ready to receive it. But that doesn't mean that the universe is not going to shower me with blessings just because you don't like me. And if you remember that about your ex-boyfriends and ex-girlfriends and ex-lovers too. You might be not letting yourself have any fun right now because you won't let go of your grievances, so you won't let yourself have a really loving relationship because of what you think they did to you. In the meantime, they in Hawaii piling like a big dog on the beach. So your sorrow isn't affecting one person but you. Nobody else in this room feels your stomach ache but you. You ever notice that? It's not like you get a cramp and then everybody in the room goes, you know, but for whatever reason, this situation is set up that as long as we're not sharing love, we can't feel each other's feelings. I think that's a great setup. I'm glad I can't feel all y'all stuff and you can't feel mine. I don't want oneness to mean I feel your diarrhea. Because we won. I got to feel everything you feel. No, the Course says, you know, basically the only thing that you can really join in is love. Thank goodness. You can join in joy. I'm glad I can't join in your pain. I need to not be in your pain to help you. It's hard to help somebody if I'm just as messed up as they are, you know. And I used to know people, and I would be that way myself. Did they get upset with you if you didn't get upset as they were? If they was feeling bad, they wanted you to feel bad too. I used to have friends that when they got mad at somebody, I wasn't supposed to be their friend anymore. If I cared about them. They wanted me to join them in the suffering, even though I had no particular issue with that person at all. And they thought that was friendship. That's deep. That's deep. So I want you, whenever I'm suffering, whenever I'm hurting for any reason, I want you to do two things. This is my request for you. First of all, stay as happy and peaceful as you possibly can, so that I'll see that there's an alternative to the way that I'm feeling, if I choose to avail myself to it. And if you really care about me, I would like to, this is just me, I don't know if anybody else wants this, but I would also like you to as soon as possible, laugh at it. You know, I would like, you know, because, you know, sometimes people do that behind your back anyway. You get through with your story, they be going, damn. Okay. So I'm saying I want that. I don't want you to make my pain real. I don't want you to make my sadness real. I don't want you to join in the suffering with me. I want you to stay centered and peaceful so that you have some strength that you can share with me. That's my request. So usually when I'm getting ready to share something that's particularly fearful to me, I'll tell my friends, I'm not going to tell you this unless you're going to promise me that if you can, you'll laugh. You know, you'll laugh at this. But you can't laugh at that. No, I need you to laugh at this. I remember one time I had this psychic that was going to tell me what my guides were saying. And I was like, went through my story about all the stuff I was going through, especially as a black man in America. And all the stuff, my relationships and all, you know, and I said, so what are the guides saying? What are they saying? And the person said, I really can't understand what they're saying because they're laughing. And that's a true story. They're laughing. You know why they were laughing? Because they thought it was a joke to think that the infinite child of God could put themselves in a situation that they think that they couldn't get out of through getting in touch with themselves and their relationship to their Creator. So see someone who believes in your strength, they almost see it as a joke when you're talking about something in your life that you couldn't handle. Someone who sees you as beautiful and someone who sees you as valuable, they have a hard time relating to you saying you couldn't have somebody in your life that really appreciated you. So they would let you say it, but they wouldn't see you that way. Because your Savior is someone who doesn't see you the way you are seeing you when you're unhappy. They're not the person who joins in and you're saying you're feeling really bad about something you did last night, and then they chime in and say, and do you remember what you did last week? They like add something else to it. But I know you feel bad, but remember what you did the other month though. This is, you know, you've been doing this a long time. You know. So somebody that loves you tells you something like, I want you to say everything that you're feeling right now. Don't hold back anything. Don't try to be positive. Don't try to be spiritual. Don't try to do anything, but just really and truly let me have it. I want to hear every ounce of negativity, fear you got inside of you right now. Say it. Get it out. Say it, because I know you more than your fear. I know you more than your anger. I know you more than this person that's upset right now. You're the infinite holy child of God. I know who you really are. You're infinite spirit. You are a powerful being. But right now you're having some perception through your body's eyes that need to be changed. But to get to that change, you don't need to, depression comes from suppression. Depression comes from suppression. Depression comes from suppression. So what I want you to do is stop suppression. Stop suppressing. And I promise you, as your friend, I will not correct you. Mm-hmm. I will not stop you. I will not fix you. I will not tell you what you're saying wrong. I will hold space for you. Remember who you are. Let you purge all that stuff that needs to be said so that we can get to the sanity behind your fear. And if I interfere by trying to fix you or stop you or make you be more positive because I'm feeling threatened, you're making me aware of my own fear and my own upset that I'm trying to hide behind my positivity. You're making me aware of what I'm trying to hide behind my being positive, which is how angry I am and upset I am. So you being angry and upset is triggering my anger and upset. So that's why I'm trying to stop you to tell you to be positive. It's my own fear of dealing with my own emotions that's making me try to correct you. So therefore, I'm going to hold space for that person and let that person express. And then the next step we want to do with each other is we want to go, now, tell yourself you giving it all the meaning that it has for you. You're the one that's creating it. You're coming from your consciousness. Then tell yourself you're grateful. Grateful for what? I'm grateful that I even have the ability to create my own reality. That I'm not a victim. Then what's the last thing I do? I tell myself I'm still as God created me. I'm still an infinite being. I'm still loved. I'm still loved. I'm still whole no matter what. And that's how you change your mind. That's how you move into another space. There's certain steps I have to do. Wow. And I'll get there. So all those people in your life, and you know you need to do some healing with, why don't you set some guidelines up with them before you even share what you're going through? Why don't you tell them what you would need? And which could be as simple as saying, you know, I got some stuff I really need to get off my chest, but I really want to ask you not to correct me, not to say anything. I just want you to hold space. I just want you to be here. And remember who I am. Just let me get this out. You can just tell your friends. A friend will be open to the healing that comes from God within you that you need to do. They won't insist on doing it their way. They'll be glad. Because really, it's really cool that they didn't have to try to figure out how to help you. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have to try to figure out what to tell you. So you told them, I'm crazy right now, and I need to release right now, and I need someone to just release to and share it with. And so just hold space for me. Don't try to fix me. Don't try to fix me. Don't try to fix me. Don't try to correct me. Don't tell me what I'm doing wrong. I don't need that. That's not the help I need. What I need is to feel innocent, to express all of my feelings, no matter what they are, without someone or even me trying to stop me so they can move through me. Because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling your fear and then being willing to move through it to the other side. That's what takes courage. It takes courage to admit what you really feel and be willing to go through it to the other side. It's not courage meaning, I'm not afraid. That's not courage. That's just the absence of fear. Courage is, my God, I got this situation that's come up in my life right now, and I'm going to be willing to do what it takes to move through this and go through the other side. That's courage. Mm-hmm. And you are courageous, and you are whole, and you are awesome.
Mm-hmm, yay.
That's who you really are. And I appreciate you. Thank you for coming today and hearing me remember. Would you acknowledge yourself for even hearing it? Come on, give it to you. Give it to you. Give it to you. Give it to you. Remember, your reality is going to reflect the energy that you give yourself. So let's pretend we can be enthusiastic. Come on.